She built one of the most powerful Christian television networks the world has ever seen, a ministry that stretches across continents, into more than 2 billion homes, touching lives in places most broadcasters have never even reached. She did it with faith, with relentless drive, and with a love for people that everyone around her says was completely genuine. And on May 7th, 2025, the world lost her. Joni Lamb, co-founder and president of Daystar Television Network, passed away at the age of 65 after a period of serious health challenges, worsened by a recent back injury. Her condition declined rapidly in her final days. The announcement came in a formal statement from Daystar's board of directors, and within hours, the Christian world was in mourning. Her husband, Doug Weiss, confirmed the news on Instagram with words that stopped people mid-scroll. He wrote simply that she was deeply loved, and that the space she leaves behind is impossible to put into words. No elaborate tribute, just the quiet weight of a man who had lost his person. To understand who Joni Lamb truly was, you have to go back to the beginning, back to 1993, when she and her husband Marcus sat down with a dream that most people would have called impossible. A Christian television network, built from scratch, with the goal of reaching every corner of the earth. It worked. Over the following 3 decades, Joni and Marcus turned that dream into Daystar Television Network, one of the largest Christian broadcasters on the planet. Today, Daystar's programming is available in more than 2.3 billion homes worldwide through major cable carriers and satellite systems. The network carries approximately 100 third-party ministry programs, including powerhouse shows like Bishop T.D. Jakes' The Potter's Touch, a program based out of Dallas, whose reach alone spans continents. Joni didn't just run a network. She ran a mission. Every decision, every broadcast, every partnership was filtered through a single question: does this serve the people? And by every account, the answer almost always was yes. But behind every empire is a personal story. And Joni Lamb's personal story is one of extraordinary love, devastating loss, remarkable resilience, and, in the end, a second chapter that surprised even her. She and Marcus Lamb were married for nearly 39 years. They raised 3 children together. They built Daystar together, side by side, through every season: the growth, the criticism, the triumphs, the hardship. People who knew them said they were inseparable, not just as business partners, but as a couple who genuinely, deeply loved each other. So when Marcus died in November 2021, the grief was immense and it was public. Marcus had contracted COVID-19 and he passed away at just 64 years old. What made the loss even harder to process for many observers was the context. Marcus Lamb had been outspoken loudly and publicly against the COVID-19 vaccine. Daystar, under his leadership, had frequently served as a platform for anti-vaccination voices and alternative treatment advocates. His death from the very virus he had downplayed sent shockwaves far beyond the Christian community. For Joni, there was no time to disappear. She had made Marcus a promise. In her own words, posted to Instagram in the days after his passing, "I'm going to miss you like crazy, but I always promised you I would carry on. And I will." And she did. She stepped into the presidency of Daystar with the full weight of grief on her shoulders and kept going. That alone says everything you need to know about the kind of woman she was. What she didn't expect, what she couldn't have planned for, was love finding her again. Less than a year after Marcus died, Joni began a relationship with Doug Weiss, a counselor, author, and speaker. She later described the experience in an essay for Charisma magazine, saying it felt like a refreshing rain saturating the drought in my soul and bringing a sense of newness. She said she always knew Marcus would want her to find happiness again. He had told her as much, more than once, in front of their children: "If anything ever happened to me, I would want you to get remarried." She took that seriously, and she honored it. On June 10th, 2023, Joni and Doug Weiss were married. By her own description, he became her favorite person, her confidant, her joy. In a post celebrating their 2-year anniversary, she wrote that he had brought so much happiness in her life that he was trustworthy, kind, and giving. For a woman who had weathered so much, those final years appear to have been genuinely, quietly beautiful. But life especially a life lived as publicly as Joni Lamb's, is never without its shadows. And honoring her fully means acknowledging all of it. In 2024, a painful family dispute became public in a way that neither side could have wanted. Joni's son Jonathan Lamb, who had served as vice president of Daystar, was fired from the network. What followed was a family feud that played out in statements, allegations, and public accusations. Jonathan and his wife, Susie, alleged that their daughter had been sexually abused by a male relative. Those allegations led to escalating conflict between Jonathan and his parents. Joni denied the allegations against her and countered that her son had launched a deliberate smear campaign against her. It was a heartbreaking chapter, a mother and son on opposite sides of a wound that had no clean resolution. The feud remained unresolved at the time of Joni's death. There are no easy words for that kind of ending. Only the recognition that real lives, even extraordinary ones, are rarely without fracture. And yet she kept going. Right up until the end, Joni Lamb was working. She spent her final months working closely with Daystar's board of directors to ensure a full executive leadership team was in place so that the ministry she had given her life to would continue without interruption. That is not the behavior of someone stepping back. That is the behavior of someone who believed in something bigger than herself. Daystar has confirmed that programming will proceed as scheduled, with on-air tributes to Joni planned in the coming days. Details about a memorial service will be shared by the family at the appropriate time. So who was Joni Lamb, really? She was a wife twice, and both times with her whole heart. She was a mother of 3 and a grandmother. She was a visionary who co-built a global ministry from nothing and refused to let it fall when she was left to carry it alone. She was a woman of deep, public faith that was tested repeatedly and that she never stopped proclaiming. She was complicated. She was human. She made decisions that drew admiration and decisions that drew criticism. And through all of it, she kept showing up. 2 billion homes. Think about that for a moment. 2 billion homes where, at some point, Joni Lamb's network delivered a message of faith. That is a legacy that doesn't disappear when a person does. That is something built to outlast its builder, and it will. The world she helped create through that screen keeps going. That was always the plan. She made sure of it. Rest in peace, Joni Lamb. 1959 to 2025. You carried on. Right until the very end, you carried on.